How's up, y'all? It's Poppin' It's D. About to react to this playback vid. This is not dating trans women equals transphobic. I have spoken on this subject many times. I think it's so idiotic to make this argument, and it's a very common argument, surprisingly. People are stupid. I feel like a lot of people operate based on emotion versus logic. Like, there's nothing wrong with not wanting to date someone who's trans. That does not make them transphobic. They don't have to date who they don't want to date. That is their choice. That is their prerogative. How can you label them as transphobic for that? It is so fucking weird. You cannot force people to date you. In a similar sense, I mean, it's different, but kind of in the same realm. I wouldn't call a white person racist for not wanting to date black people. You don't have to if you don't want to. That's your right. You don't fucking have to. Or someone not wanting to date people who are overweight. If you don't want to date fat people, you don't have to. If you don't like girls who are too skinny because they don't have shape, you don't have to date them. You don't have to do these things. But to call them fat phobic or racist or transphobic, like, you're just operating based on emotion because it doesn't make you feel good inside. So you want to try to strong arm these people into dating fat people or trans people or black people or whatever. That doesn't make any sense. It's so stupid. This is such a stupid argument. But whatever. Let's hear what they have to say. Let's watch.
Okay, if you date men, do you have any red flags you look for in them, and what are they?
1. If he refers to women as females exclusively. 2. If he says he's not a feminist. 3. If he says he wouldn't date anyone darker than him. 4. If he believes in or cares about the concept of a body count. 5. If he mansplains everything. 11. If he doesn't know the difference between there, and there. If he doesn't know the difference between your and your.
Yeah, she is beautiful.
Damn, she said that she was out of it. We gotta hear her talk more.
I know. Some of these things though are like, why are you in a relationship with a grown man who doesn't understand the difference between there and there?
They're not in a relationship. These are red flags.
Yeah.
13. If he says he wouldn't date a trans woman. Like for part 2.
Like for part 2. So you dating a trans woman?
Oh, how is that the same shit as everything else?
I know that should have actually been number 1.
Look at Asian avoiding the question.
The fact that she there, much money, and it was like also I hard stance on trans women. Like, you got to be able to find them sexually attractive.
I'm dating you. Why the fuck does it matter who anyone else is?
Oh, is she trans?
Oh, maybe.
No,
I didn't think about that.
She would have said it.
Maybe why?
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
No.
That would be a qualification.
That should be at the number 1.
Look at Adrian cutting him off. He don't want him to ask him that question.
That should be number 1 though. But do you date trans? Would you date a trans woman? I'm not dating trans.
Oh, y'all see that cut? He didn't want to answer it. Don't be that little bitch, Agent.
I'm not dating trans.
And he laughed after. Nigga, I want to laugh too. What'd he say? Oh, they scary.
I don't know.
Unless they have like a great personality.
Yeah, like one of the homies, man, right?
Not like
he
great
lying.
fire personality, like your
my
best
girl.
friend, like your homie.
Everybody has their preferences. You can't call nobody phobic for having a preference. Unless they say like, ew, that person's nasty and disgusting,
Exactly.
and they're the worst, then like that's kind of phobic.
And same with, what I said earlier. If you are, non-black and you like, I'm not dating black people, those dirty niggers, I would fucking never. Like, obviously, all right, nigga, you just being on some racist shit. Or if you, fat people are so nasty and sloppy, that's disgusting, I would never. It's like, all right, you're doing too much. You feel me? So that goes into the phobic category when you're being hateful and unnecessarily rude and mean, and you clearly have, something against that group. That is what makes you whatever phobic or racist or whatever the case. But just not wanting to because like, it's not really my thing. I don't get my dick hard. Then that's your fucking choice. Like, you feel me?
Right? Because that's the fear of.
Oh God.
People do all the time. That's what I'm saying. So what are we saying? Like, so
He trying to clear
women,
up, say
short
too.
man phobia? Is that what that is?
Yeah. Or like ugly man phobia. Ew.
Or broke man phobia?
Right. The amount of women I heard just say ew as a reaction to looking at a guy.
That's what I'm saying. So like, what are we saying?
I've done that.
So are they? What are they?
I've done that on reaction videos. Let's be clear though. It's been to people who deserve it. Okay. I recall doing that for EDP. I recall doing that for Ari Spears. In a video where he was calling Lizzo fat when he fat his goddamn self. That was just weird. They showed a picture of him looking very busted, and I was like, yeah, I remember that specifically. So the people I've done that to on reaction videos, they deserved it. All right.
The phobia towards that as well. Like I don't get that.
They just don't like to keep it both ways.
I know.
Oh no. The transphobia in my comment section needs to stop. Yesterday I posted a TikTok responding to this question. What are the red flags you look for in men? And one of them was if he wouldn't date a trans woman. Red flag. And my comment section?
Can I read one of them?
Yeah, let's read it.
What's wrong with not wanting to date a trans woman? It's his choice, and to her, that's transphobic.
That's transphobic. Yeah,
Got it.
I just don't understand why force it. I'm like, why force?
Well, if you could
If
say,
it
like,
don't
you
get you hard,
you just go, alright.
Yeah, facts.
It's just a preference. It's
Exactly.
not a phobia.
Exactly.
I don't assume you're afraid of short men. I don't assume.
I'd be crazy. If
Like if you were like, yo, bro, I want to date.
I hate
men.
people use that afraid thing. That is so weird. You are arguing semantics and coming with this Webster dictionary definition. You know what the fuck we're talking about. Just, that's a side note. I can't be transphobic. I'm not afraid of trans people. You know what the fuck is being discussed. Shut your ass up. I'm not talking about agents specifically. I'm just saying in general. I see that a lot. What's happening?
And to have good hygiene. I want to be like, what? So you're dirty nigga phobic? I'd be like, okay, you just like.
now it sounds like you're comparing trans people to dirty niggas.
Okay, let me just compare it to anything else.
Yeah.
Tall people.
Short,
Some
yeah.
men don't like dating tall women.
Yeah,
For whatever reason.
I don't understand
or
that
some
one.
men don't like dating women that make more bread than them. So
Y'all beating around the bush. Let's get to the nitty gritty details, okay? All of these things can be worked around that you're listing off. They are super surface level. Like, what? I have a preference for taller men. You know, I am more sexually attracted to taller men initially when I first see them. But I've dated many short men. Y'all have, whatever. I have dated many short men. It's not a deal breaker. So that can be worked around. Someone who makes less money, that can be worked around, you know. So these preferences are very flexible, and I hear a lot of women, okay, in my personal life who claim they wouldn't date a dude who was like da-da-da, and they end up dating those type of dudes. So don't even believe half the shit people be saying. They just be talking out their ass. But it's because these things are very flexible. They are very flexible. I've dated men who are not attractive at all, that I first was like, oh, I can't do it. But then they grew on me. You know, their personalities grew on me. So anyway, these things are flexible. Dating someone trans, this is not flexible. It is not. I'm not dating a trans man because he doesn't have what the fuck I want. You do not have the penis that I want. Okay? You don't have a penis. You either don't have a penis at all, which defeats the fucking purpose. I don't want to date a man with no penis. Or B, and not saying that's all they good for. Whatever, I ain't explaining my goddamn self. I said what the fuck I said. Or B, you have a penis that has been surgically created. I don't want that either. I want someone who was born with a penis, and I want him to use his natural penis on me. That's what I want, okay? And that is my preference, and it is what it is. I'm not dating no trans man, and this is no shade, and this is not me saying ill to anything that you have or whatever the fuck. I just don't want to date you, be in a relationship with you, have sex with you. That is my prerogative. Period. These other things that y'all talking about, y'all comparing to, could be worked around. Let's say what the fuck it is. When it comes to sex, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Then you have to deal with the differences, because even if they did get, you know, this sex reassignment surgery or whatever the case, I'm positive it's different in some ways. So what if you don't like that difference? What if there are side effects, or certain times they can't use it, or they easily get infected? Like, it's so much shit that you don't want to deal with. You're like, why would I deal with that when I could just get with a woman or a man who was born with, you know, their genitals that I want, and I could just fuck them? Simple. So that's my perspective on it. They're beating around the bush with these bullshit ass comparisons. Like, what? Sure, more money. Like, y'all talk about what it is. Talk about the main issue that you have.
Like, everybody has their preference. I'm not comparing. It's just preference. Why is a preference like in question nowadays?
I don't know.
Like, we're debating whether or not niggas,
weird.
anybody should really just have the choice of a preference.
I want to hear her explanation.
With the people who exercise it the most.
I know, right?
women.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
It's y'all.
Yeah. Matter of fact, you exercise preferences so much so that you just basically made a list of things that you prefer to have in a man. That's basically what you just did. That's how much preference that you have.
Yeah.
So if the nigga doesn't know how to, you know, grammatically use a word there, you're phobic. You're phobic of illiterate niggas. Is that what you're saying?
And that's fucked up. Maybe they didn't have a good upbringing. Maybe they went to a bad school system.
You're a litty nigga phobia.
You get the idea. I can't put them all because there's too many. Let me break this down. Trans women are women. So if you're heterosexual and you're a man and you said you wouldn't date a trans woman because it's a preference, that's just transphobia, period. The majority of the time, our preferences are...
Trans women are trans women. Like, it's the mental gymnastics for me. It's the debating semantics for me. Like, a trans woman is a trans woman, and a woman is a woman. Like, a lot of straight men, they just want to date women. So stop acting like there's no difference between the two. It is stupid. We're debating reality at this point. There are differences here. So, what are you talking about?
Problematic. It could be trauma, racism, transphobia. The list goes on. If you want to find out what your problematic preferences are,
there's no
girl. Go to hell. Go to the deepest depths.
YouTube video. What, bro? The same, bro. Tall women are also still women. There are several men who have preferences not to date tall women. Asian women are also a preference. There's a bunch of white, black, Hispanic men who don't necessarily prefer Asian women. Like, that's very, very common. So even if we agree, this concept that, like, as a man, if you're heterosexual, you like women, you have to now like all women? You can't have a preference to pick what type of woman that you want to be with? That makes no sense. That's basically what he's saying. You're straight, you like women, all women have to be able to say it for you.
See, it is slightly correct, and I think some people's preferences is rooted in some fucked up shit from time to time. That doesn't negate the fact that preferences, that's dating. If you didn't have any preferences, then you could just pick somebody down the street right there and be like, that's my person forever. But you have preferences. Maybe you want someone that's the same culture as you, the same religion as you. Those are all preferences. If I date someone that's Muslim, it's not because I'm Christian phobic. It's just that person will most likely just meet whatever the fuck I'm looking for. Yeah, bro, not understanding preferences and me having to sit down and explain that to a person in 2022. We try to sit down and pretend like all preferences are rooted in some sort of phobia. It's dumb. Maybe some of it is, but then just present it like that. If I don't want to date a woman because she's a trans woman, that doesn't mean that I hate trans people at all.
Or that you don't like women.
That's not my preference. Maybe I need to be more specific now. I want to date women that were born women.
Cisgender.
Oh, is that what it's called?
No, I'm not using that. I'm sorry. I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't give a fuck who have an issue with me. I don't like it. I'm not calling myself cisgendered. I'm not doing all that. I'm a woman. That's it.
I gotta catch up on the terminology and the vocabulary.
Woke lingo.
Yeah, man, I didn't know about that one.
It just doesn't make any sense because she literally clearly has a preference herself. She's listing off 13 of them in the video. So you have a preference. Even you have a preference. I don't know why you think that it's just okay to outline your preference, but then tell a nigga that he can't have his preferences. That
She's very self-righteous.
If you wouldn't feel comfortable walking out your door, picking the first man you see, and spending the rest of your life with them in whatever type of relationship you prefer, then you are technically phobic of something by your own logic.
Thank you.
Which is pretty dumb.
I am now going to take you all through an example. This person asked why it's transphobic to not want to date a trans woman. Already starting off on the wrong foot by referring to cis women as regular women, then said something about trans women not being able to carry children. If that's your sole reason for dating someone, keep that same energy for all the women who are infertile.
What?
That's so stupid.
Yo,
this is
first
so
of all, some men do,
dumb.
unfortunately.
I must say, I mean, for a lot, not even men, a lot of people in general, they want to have kids. So that would, as unfortunate as it may sound, that would be a difference maker for a lot of people.
I didn't even think about that.
Have children.
What
are we talking about?
But yeah, that's a huge
very
thing.
Common.
That's
man,
huge.
What the fuck?
Like, really huge.
The reality is that doesn't get talked about enough, maybe, because that's not a common thing. I love how
kids are just not on my
so weird to me. People make bad arguments. They use like this very unique exception, like to justify their.
They do it all the time.
Like, they're using
all
the
the time.
Portion of women who are infertile. However, those women, yes, if you probably ask them, they probably have a hard time finding men because they are infertile. Like, yes, that's also a thing. What are we talking about?
Yeah. Also, just because there's another example of. I feel like I'm saying too. It's just
common sense. It's just common sense.
Man, what the fuck? Come on, man. Did you think through your argument, or you just wanted to shit out another TikTok seafood bang?
Yeah.
First of all, these are my red flags.
Your preferences.
Your preferences, yeah.
So if you don't like them, you can just leave. Secondly, I love how they're acting like I only date men. Y'all really think y'all are the only options out here?
Most people would agree with your first 12.
Yes.
Your last one.
That's the one that everybody was like, okay. You had me by 10, 11 in, and then the last one felt like a oopsie daisy. That's why it feels like it's an extreme high. But again, basically she was like rewording the word like preference. Your standards, what you look for in a man, it's all still preference. It's your preference. You have preferences and you're criticizing other people for their preferences. That's the reason why it sounded dumb. That's why people were criticizing you.
I'm sure this shit came from like a warm place. You probably had some friends that fit that category. And you're like, damn, it's difficult for them to do this and that, and it's kind of fucked up how some people treat them. And so then you kind of come on the internet on some, let's play defense for some people that I know because you can empathize with their situation, but it just doesn't track with logic because you're contradicting the exact thing.
What did I say in the beginning of the video? It said people operate based on emotion, not logic. You're emotionally attached to the LGBTQ community and fighting for their rights, and they should have rights, okay? Of course. But you can't do that by trying to force people to date people in that community who aren't even in that community. And even if they was in that community, they don't have to because I'm in the community, but I still don't want to date trans people. But that's my right.
And literally just using different words and terminology.
First of all, these are my red flags.
What you have is a preference, what I have is a standard.
They're the same thing. Literally the same thing. Also, like, this idea, like, gaslighting men about things that they just have preferences in is crazy. You're right. You shouldn't be wasting your time informing men on certain things. Go ahead and date somebody who's comfortable with dating a trans woman. Why don't you just find those men? Just find them. Why are you wasting your time? That doesn't make any sense at all. But thirdly, and more importantly, bro, it's amazing to me how men have to be insecure, how men have to be less than, they get belittled because they just have preferences. And yet, if on the other side of the aisle, you can literally be in the mix of listing off 13 fucking preferences of yours, and you don't even see how that's a preference.
First of all, these are my red flags.
Stop saying men have to. Like, that's what gets on my nerves a lot about their channel, is they always have to bring it back to, because men are the victims, because we could never do that, but women do it all the time. Like, stop, because I get the same backlash, okay? People call me transphobic as well when I say I don't want to date trans men. So it's across the board, okay? This is a very common way of thinking, and it's not just pertaining to men, but whatever the fuck. Yeah, I said everything I have to say, really, and I've already spoke on this several times because it comes up in videos. It's relevant to the topics I'll be watching, so I'll speak on it and give my opinion. I ain't scared. That's how I feel. It is what the fuck it is. What you gonna do about it? Nothing. Okay, so there's that. But whatever. Call people whatever you like in your head, sure. Nobody cares. People still gonna date who they want to date. Y'all let me know what y'all thought, though. Let me know what other videos you want to watch, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!